So why do we work with the child essence? I call it a little bit broader than inner child work. I call it the child essence, which is our child self. There is an aspect of us that always remains childlike. And for those people that have not fully processed their wounds, if there are any that have not been processed, they're still actually very much in the child self the majority of the time. So why do we work with this place? Well, I already talked about the foundation. Everything begins in childhood, and all of us were children at some point. So if we have a wound that set in, it began in our foundation. It began in childhood. It's where our original wounds are. So when we work with these original wounds from the child perspective, we're actually going directly to the root. If there's a challenge that's coming up, we're going to see that in our early childhood foundation. And of course, the whole idea is that we can't skip our steps. We must heal these wounds. If something occurred and we didn't process it, we're going to continue to replay it over and over again to try to resolve and move the energy. So this is why we go back to the child, because essentially the child is the keeper of all of our memories and all of our beliefs. They originated in childhood. So when we talk about having beliefs and believing in something, and if I believe in it, I'm going to see it in the world. If we believe something that was set in early childhood conditioning, we actually have to speak to the child. We have to go back to that space. We have to speak to the child essence and reestablish new, more resourceful beliefs based in a different foundation. Otherwise, we're going to continue to manifest those beliefs in our external reality, no matter what age we are. And my biggest thing about the child and why I love to work with this child essence is because going back to the child essence gives a second chance. So you think, if somebody had a difficult child upbringing, or even not so much, because I believe that everybody has some kind of wound that perhaps they're still working through if they have a trigger coming up. It gives us the chance in this now moment to be able to work through it. So we have this opportunity to look at it. And even if you're, let's say, 44 years old, 54 years old, 60 years old, 80 years old, it doesn't matter. We can use this energy no matter what age we are, and we could work with that child essence, and we can give ourselves the second chance to be able to shift our perspective of reality, change our beliefs, and have a healthier sense of self, which of course is going to change our reality. So who is this work for? Of course, I'm going to say everyone. But the truth is, it's for anybody who's here that's looking for some kind of shift in their life, some kind of healing, transformation, anything that you want to find a deeper connection to. And, I would say that inner child work, of course, is for anyone that is wishing to live in harmony with their authentic self. So why should you learn about inner child work? Of course, I said, if you want to live a more authentic life, if you want to improve any aspect of your life, if you want better relationships with other people as well as with yourself, if you want to have a better relationship with finances, with your career, with anything having to do with life, you want to know about inner child work. Of course, if you're also a parent or you are engaged with any kind of child as a caretaker, inner child work is so important. And of course, I found it to be, and which is why I love sharing it, the fastest road to recovery and healing out there. Because inner child work, we're dealing with the root. So we're actually going straight, directly to that roadmap of where everything began. So I just said a mouthful, of course. There's a lot to inner child work. And I could talk for hours about it, but I'm trying to just give the general consensus so that you have a little bit of an understanding as to the depth that this work can take you and how there's a really big foundational imprint on it that affects us in many, many, many different areas. So is there anyone who this does not apply to? Essentially, I believe this applies to just about everybody. At some point, we are all subject to original wounds. It's just a part of life. We all have to go through these transitional years where we leave childhood for adulthood. And the fascinating thing about inner child work, at least from my perspective, is that it's not so much about reconnecting with the child. It is a part of it, of course. We want to talk to the child. The inner child work that we're working with here is about having the child move from childhood into healthy adulthood. It's about finalizing that process and that transition. So we work with the inner child to heal the inner child, to heal the childhood wounds, so that the individual can finally move in and transition into a healthy adult space. From there, we can, as the conscious adult, the healthy adult, with a healthy sense of self, connect with all the beauty that the child offers us. And that can prepare us so much better for life. Because, of course, life has challenges. You could do this inner child work and you're still going to have things that come up in life. But a healthy, conscious adult can handle it much better than adults that's still stuck in childhood. The most important thing, if you were to take away anything from this today, would be inner child healing has everything to do with how you feel about yourself. If you could do anything for your inner child, it would be for you to see yourself, for you to hear yourself, for you to unconditionally love and accept yourself for all that you are, no matter what. Recognizing that no matter what, you belong to yourself in here. And this is where the healing comes from inner child work. When we're able to have that healthy sense of self, that's when the process of inner child work is complete. And of course, another big one I really want to preface with this is that we touched base on the wounds of the inner child. But I think it's really important to recognize that these wounds, when we fully process them, become hidden gifts. I would not be speaking to you today about inner child work if I didn't look within myself at my own wounds, my own personal things I had to look at and go through for my own wounded child. And in that came an insurmountable gift, a gift of being able to become an advocate for this work, to share with other people, to help people to then go on to heal in this modality. And so I believe that our wounds too share beautiful gifts.